I'm coming. 1 second. Need to turn on my electric blanket. It's not a euphemism. That might be. It's literal electric blanket though. I've got to work out how to. It's so wrapped around my chair. Oh. How did it get so wrapped up around my chair? Oh, it's because I'm snuggled in it. Get all snuggled in this. Oh. Come on, electric blanket. Come on. See. Oh, no. Ah! We're good. Don't worry. Don't worry about me. Don't worry. How has this happened? Sound of me lifting. Like a strong, manly man. What have we done? It's fine. Let's put it on the maximum setting. When I go cold, that's when you know the stream's ended. Right, Hi. No, it's not. It's. Oh. Hi. Wait. How do I operate a stream again? Oh, everything's in the way. Oh, I haven't even done my camera properly. 1 second. You can see my face. Hi. We haven't done my camera properly yet. What? Is this? Is that? No. Seeing behind the wizard's curtain. It's all too bright. Now it's just a load of black behind me. Apply that. Turn off focus. Turn off that. There we go. Hi. Hey. Is everyone doing okay? How's everyone doing? How's it going? Hi. Someone else? Jonathan, Hexodus, hi. There's lots of people here. Brewbeard, love your face. J-Bird Max, you are also loved. Andrew Anderson, not Thanos. Or yeah, not Thanos, that's right. Avatar. Chris. And other people. So, if you'd like to ask a question today, just question in brackets. I'm not sure how long we're going to go on for. I just sort of wanted to talk about various things. Why is the GIB 3.11 thing still there? We need to get rid of that. We need to get rid of GIB 3.11 and make it GIB 3.13. I thought I'd already... That's unblamed Zin. So, yeah, I hope people have recovered from their New Year's hangovers for people that may have had hangovers. I certainly didn't. What are you even implying? Are you implying I was drinking on New Year's Eve? I was very heavily. I've got a pain in my side, and I've had it for a few months. In my lower abdomen, to the right. I hope it's not my appendix. I suppose it wouldn't be that bad if it was my appendix. It would hurt lots more, and then I'd go to hospital and they do some surgery on me. But it's been for a couple of months I've had it. How's your health going? Yeah, so I'm losing weight. I'm going for a run. Can't be asked to shave. I've been eating pretty healthily up until Christmas, and then it's been a bit erratic. So some days super healthy, other days takeaways and full English. That's a breakfast. Also, we use the term full English a lot more now that we've left the European Union. Our breakfast is a proud English breakfast. Oh my god. So, other than slight abdominal pain, it's probably just IBS or wind or something. Quite probably, actually, or the changing of my diet. Go on, Sin, ram that rock. Good job. Good job. I assume that was Sin ramming a rock in that footage. Seems likely, doesn't it? She's a dum-dum. But yeah, so we have had a load of hotfixes for Star Citizen. I've got a video that came out about it today that address a huge amount of the game's problems from the 3.12 branch. So that's things like commodity sales. They sort of did a bit of a bounty hunting fix. There's like I was able to get back on the bounty hunting, but I also previously fixed it, so I'm not sure if it's actually that. What else did we get? The 30K's fixed, so that they fixed a huge amount of the 30K problems. Well, they fixed one major 30K problem, which then reduced the 30Ks by about 40-50% overall, which is fantastic. So unresponsive shops, 30K disconnections, and sale of commodities. Big hotfixes for those, which seem to put the game in a significantly better state. There's still 30Ks going on. There's still disconnections for sure, but a lot less than there were from the start of that 3.12 branch. So, congratulations on being smoke-free for 8 days. It's hard, I know. I was never ever any more than a occasional casual smoker when I was like clubbing and drinking when I was young. But, I know a lot of my friends that are still smokers to this day. Actually, one of my best mates, who's the DM for our D&D campaign, and very much looking forward to being able to do that D&D campaign again live, actually in front of each other, which is what we're waiting on. Waiting on the lockdown to end. He was able to give up the end of November. I think he's not smoking. That's very good for him. Oh yeah, Daymar Rally. I need to. Oh, I think Joe ran or someone poked me saying, "Do I want to be one of the viewers?" And so I do, and I want to record it. So I need to contact the Daymar Rally guys again, or make sure it's right for me to capture footage and broadcast their event in some way. The Daymar Rally is so much of a time investment when I need to be doing stuff around my house, unfortunately. For those of you who don't know, I looking after my parents at the moment, or more specifically my father. So that takes a lot of time away from my day. But I also, do the BoredGamer stuff. And I also sell models on eBay. So there's a lot of stuff that I've been doing. I've realised that I'm super obsessive. I suppose I've always known. I need to focus on something constantly. So businesses and messing around with things, Star Citizen, whatever it is, whether it be running, making YouTube videos, research, playing board games, playing computer games, running other businesses, whatever. I need to be doing something constantly. And Star Citizen has been great for that because it is a great, constant, slow burn. But there's a huge amount of information constantly coming out and something to play. So there's currently a new PTU patch as well, which has gone and basically just fixed a load more. Now the assumption here is that this is either going to be a foundation for 3.12.1 as a new patch, or it's going to herald the way, or whatever, it's going to herald the way for Xenothreat missions. So at the end of December, they wanted to put the new Xenothreat dynamic event missions in, but they failed to. They went, it's not ready yet, which is fair enough. It's well, say fair enough. It's disappointing, but if they want to take some extra time to get that in-game properly without it being trash, then great. I'm up for that. The Xenothreat / dynamic missions / fleet battle stuff that I can just jump into a server and get involved with if it's going on the server is super exciting for me, and something I've waited for Star Citizen for years and years and years. This is bread and butter content. This is great stuff. I suspect that a lot of people, if the event's good, will jump back into Star Citizen and play it and go, actually, these quarterly patches might have some pretty cool content in now if they're going to have lots of these dynamic events in, or some big dynamic semi-exclusive events. And what do I mean by semi-exclusive? I mean, you're only going to get these events like they are in that quarter. So the future Xenothreat events potentially still happen, but they'll be evolved somewhat. And I suppose that's true of all the patches anyway. It's evolving content for sure. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Pretty excited by it. I hope you are too. I think it's going to be the highlight for Star Citizen so far. What do you think about Time to Kill? Do you think it should be much longer so internal mid-flight ship repair gameplay loops have a chance? Yes, it should be a lot. So ship fighting should be less lethal overall, and physicalized components will allow for that. That will literally mean that ships are much more likely to be disabled and damaged. Ships need to have a lot tougher hull and potentially tougher shields, in my opinion, and the time to kill needs to be a lot higher. And yes, I want the rerouting of power, I want the damage control and all that sort of stuff to become very important, which means the time to kill needs to be a lot higher. Is it true that a reset patch is coming soon? I always lose my M7A in these patch wipes. So, your M7A? There is no confirmed resets at the moment, like a full database reset. You might have an update with 3.12.1. It's possible they could reset the long-term persistent database. However, I don't think they want to. They will always avoid that if possible. So if they need to, yes, there is no confirmed wipe yet, though. I have also heard rumours, Ted, but nothing from CIG. So I'm not expecting a wipe, personally. Vitolnez, is South America getting servers anytime soon? So that's a really good question. General global servers expect that servers will be much better distributed in the future at some point after server meshing, because they're using like the Amazon Web Services stuff. They can actually have hugely distributed servers across the world potentially without damaging people's experience by having lots and lots of different server nodes all communicating with each other, as far as I understand it. So at some point in the not too distant future, I would expect you to be able to get a good ping, whether or not that's going to specifically be a South American or South African or South whatever server. I've realised they said South America rather than South Africa. But yes, I would expect something more akin to a local server to you pretty soon. Although Cloud Imperium did also say regional servers may still be a thing even after server meshing for at least a while. The intention is to have everyone on the same server if possible, or same server cluster, however they do that. Yeah, so the sounds earlier were me fighting with an electric blanket. That's literally what it was. I do need to update my emotes, that is true. Is there any worth or validity to players buying ships in the sub-near capital range, such as the Perseus? How will we run and keep such ships in order? So you will be able to get NPC crew. You will be able to get AI blades. So that's some ship automation. By going, this turret's going to be run by this computer. But you can also do using NPCs is going to be a lot better for a lot of different things, like running the gun turrets, admittedly. And the better option than that is to join an org, get some friends, run it with a group of people. I am dressed, but how far up and down? That's the question, isn't it? Is it morning at Lockdown Island? It is 4 PM. It's 4 PM. I believe Elite Dangerous is going to come out better in the future than by the time Star Citizen finishes its game. So Elite Dangerous is getting Odyssey, which is a cool addition to the game. I'm very much looking forward to that. Looks like it's taken some Star Citizen influences for sure as well, but able to implement them in a already live game environment that's live and polished. Cool. I'm looking forward to that, seeing what that's like. I think that there's definitely a room in the industry for lots and lots of different space games. And I do think that Star Citizen is specialising in that sort of like super highly detailed fidelity and a lot of stuff going on with troop assistance and the player influence economy and a lot more detail going on with combat and everything like that. So I don't think Star Citizen's got anything to worry about, but in the same way, I don't think Elite Dangerous has got anything to worry about either. I think they are basically different games. And actually... Do you know when the Hull C might come up? Do you know when the Hull C might come out? Trying to decide between that and the C2. So the C2 should be in a... so that's the Hercules. The C2 and the M2 should be in a 3.13.x patch, 3.13.1 being most likely. So not during the initial 3.13 release at the end of March is when it's targeted. So a little bit after that, well, anywhere between that and June, I suppose, is when the C2 is coming out. Now, the Hull C, all of the tech, as far as I'm aware, is going to be finished for the Hull C during this year. And that's things like ship-to-station docking as well. And the Hull A and B are getting some work this year as well. And as far as I was aware, they weren't going to start work on those properly until the Hull C was until the Hull C was done. Though that might have changed. So I'm expecting to see the Hull C on the release view roadmap this year at some point. And later on in January, we should see some updates to that. When Alpha ends, thank you very much as well, Vitanez. When Alpha ends, backers will keep all ships they have, and it will be when the insurance will kick in. So, when Alpha ends, any ships, there'll be a big reset, yeah? Or at some point between the Alpha ending and when the game goes live, there'll be a big reset. So anything you've purchased in-game with in-game credits at that time will be reset. Anything you've purchased with real money, with the money of the worlds, that will be on your account, yeah? And that is when insurance will be important. You will be given, they will warn you, they will tell you what's going on. Then insurance will start and kick in, as you said. And if you take your ship out and it doesn't have any insurance left, then you might lose that ship. Yeah, that's a possibility. And we don't know if there's statutory insurance and stuff like that going on. They'll tell us more in the future for sure. But assume worst possible circumstance, you've got your 6 months insurance. After 6 months, you forget to take your ship out. There's probably going to be a warning telling you that you haven't got insurance for your ship. You shouldn't take it out. And if you lose it, then you've lost that ship. However, the insurance will be available for the hull at a very minor fee. That should be affordable to most people. And also, the other thing is that insurance is probably going to be something that even people with lifetime insurance or that have insurance on their ships anyway might want to upgrade. I'm expecting a level of insurance for your ship modding as well. So your ship hull, that's what that insurance covers. But you're going to be modifying your ships most likely with better weapons and better components and stuff like that. And I suspect that the higher end of those components is going to be incredibly expensive, much more valuable than the hull of your ship overall, with all the changes. So I suspect there will be insurance involved with that as well that isn't covered by the normal insurance. Do you see what I mean? Pew, 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 pew. Hello, Pixel Pirates. Thanks for the wave. Enigmatic, thanks for the little spanner girl. Beep, beep, beep. Can laser give me that great power and fit? What? Came upon one of your older videos from around Alpha 3.0 where you in detail talked about land claims. What happened since it seemed to be in game? Good question. So I can talk about this at some length, but I'll minimize it as much as possible. Land claims are the ability to, and they're not in game yet. They're the ability to get a land claim beacon, go to an area of land, place the beacon, and that could be like a 5x5 or is it 2x2 and 4x4 kilometer? It's a big area of land. It can be little squares or larger squares of land. Pretty big, even the small squares. 2x2 kilometers is pretty big. And then basically pay a fee at the UEE claim office, and that land's yours. Now, you only need to get land claims in areas of UEE law, because that means then you have the protection of the UEE and the law system there. Yeah? So if someone comes on your land and you don't want them there, or they try and exploit the resources there, they'll get a crime stat. The UE security forces might be called out to come and deal with them. It's cool. That sorts you out. You can also then build your own structures there legally and exploit the resources of those areas yourself. That's the idea behind land claims. They give you legal protection. In the more Wild West areas like Pyro, there isn't expected to be useful land claims because you just set your bases up and do what you want. Yeah? So land claim gameplay, originally they wanted to have it in at the end of 2018. I talked to Erin when I went to a studio tour about it. It was like, actually, we're working on this. It's something I'm really excited about, probably the thing I'm most excited about that's coming soon. And it's land claim gameplay. However, if we have to reprioritize it, then we'd push it back later. And that's what ended up happening. They went, well, we need other systems to come in place to, like, full persistence and stuff like that, to have land claims working properly in game. So they pushed it back. So we will have land claim gameplay at some point, and potentially before base building, although they are also working on base building to some extent now, and more points of interest, which also alludes to land claims and base building. Robert Johnston, how do I apply the Carrack Best in Show paint? I don't see any option to paint in my mobiGlas or an option to apply in the hangar. So yeah, it's not done on the website. It's supposed to be a paint that you can apply, as far as I was aware, a paint you can apply from your mobiGlas. Yeah, that, as far as I was aware, that was what it was. So you can't apply it. I can get back to you, Robert Johnson, if you poke me on email or Discord. I will get an answer for you. Maybe I should bring Zin into the chat sometimes and get her to send her out to find out information that I don't know. Zin, go find an answer for this. What would be the easiest option for new players and backers to learn the tricks, methods, and styles of gameplay in Star Citizen? Well, there's videos on it. You want to play, for sure, you want to play a little bit of Vandal Swarm to get used to the general combat and movement of ships and stuff in game. And then, really, you want to do a bit of a checklist. Like, there's a lot to do, but work through the missions list, but also sort of be aware that you can do stuff in ground vehicles and stuff, like mining in the rock. There's not much use to ground vehicles other than mining in the rock at the moment, other than sightseeing. My suggestion is get involved with an org and get them to teach you the game / join in their org events, because that will give you a nice cross-section of whatever's going on. But generally just do the missions, do a load of different types of mission. That's a load of stuff that you can do in game. Vidonez, thank you very much for the money. It's very much appreciated. Constantly chuck. You don't need to chuck money at me to ask questions in the chat, by the way. It is appreciated, and you're more than welcome to do it. I will read them out at the earliest possible stage when I see the super chats or the donations and stuff come in, because they're just in front of me immediately. But you do not need to do that to participate. Just feel free to ask questions. However, feel free to also give me money. Do you think they will stop selling ships when Alpha ends? I ask this in the pay-to-win context. So that's a really good question. So basically, Cloud Imperium have said previously that they will stop selling ships in the same way once the game is sort of properly live. And by that, what they meant is that they'll still sell game packages up to a certain level of ship. So the expectation is like maybe up to Constellation, you can buy a game package with a ship. Yeah, not all ships, just a few of them, like the more startery ships, up to a certain level. Yeah, so you can't buy all ships really easily on it or whatever. But you will be able to buy in-game currency. That is the way that they plan to fund their game after launch and keep the servers and the sort of keep everything going. And you can certainly go, well, that's in some ways pay to win. Yes, there's always going to be that argument because it gives you some form of advantage. However, there are going to be very tight restrictions on the amount of UEC in-game currency that you can buy and when. So bear that in mind. That's what they last said. I am expecting them to still sell ships. I would expect them to still sell concept ships, really, is what it is. New ships at the earliest possible stage. New ships, concept ships, I suspect they will sell. But I don't think they'll have ships constantly available beyond starter packages. Do you see what I mean? The difference there? I'm sort of alright with that, as long as they don't keep on producing new ships where they're just exclusively better than other ships. There needs to be new and interesting ships that fill holes, not that just go, this ship's better, and that's why you should buy it. Max or Taurus for my soul ship? I prefer the Taurus. I'm not a fan of the freelancers. What's your org called? There's a BoredGamer org and a Nomad Black org. Neither are being properly run yet. Zin literally is going to start taking over that BoredGamer org and the Discord, and she's going to be organising events with some other people and stuff for the BoredGamer soon. Like, genuinely soon. This month is the hope. People are more than welcome to join that org. Can you do a video on every bathroom located in-game? Huh. Potentially, yes. I'll put it on the list. I'll think of something stupid to do. Is cargo meant to be 100% physically managed eventually? In other words, no magically appearing and vanishing cargo at stations. So, okay. There is going to be that they want the ability to individually move cargo containers. They want the ability and they want timers and fees associated with moving cargo containers to and from ships. Now, is there going to be magic teleportation in some way? Potentially. But they'll want to make it as high fidelity as possible, and if possible, they'll want to have literally carried off or simulated off by NPCs, or at least the illusion of that. Yeah? My friend, Hanny, has a lot of money. How can I get him to play this game? I want a Kraken to fly. Wow. Wait until the game is more complete. Also, you don't need his money to get a Kraken. You'll be able to get it in-game when the Kraken's in-game. The Kraken's not in-game yet. Once it's in-game, steal one. Buy one by playing the game lots with in-game money. You don't need to use other people's money for it. Poop. Poop, 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 poop. Sny Snootles, thank you very much for the money. You and Fox Anderson are invited to dinner, to my dinner with Chris Roberts. Thank you for the content. Been watching for a while and love what you're putting out. You're a real homie. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Si. Oh, you star, thank you. What are we having for dinner? So 30Ks are there's been big fixes for 30Ks. They still happen, but they are a lot less frequent. Yeah, indeed. So yeah, so 3.12 we are getting those Xeno Threat missions, and hopefully we're getting that Xeno Threat event, those big fleet battles, those battles you can jump into. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks is what it looks like, and that's one of the reasons that Cloud Imperium have pushed that new PTU patch. To get some more fixes in. That's why they're pushing those hot fixes out. How long do you normally have to wait after you reset your account? Up to an hour. It can be pretty quick though. So you're on a weight loss journey. Yeah, you should check out the X3 bar system. I'm down 50 pounds since March. Wow. I will check it out. I'm happy doing a half an hour run a day, an hour run a day. I mean, it chills me out as well. I've got a treadmill behind my green screen. What time do you expect to see server meshing? About 4 o'clock. What time do you expect to see server meshing Horizon and Pyro? So Horizon looks like to me like it's Q2 2021. That's we're going to see the first version of Horizon. There is 2 versions on the roadmap currently. Bear that in mind. So that's Horizon and that's Crusader. Both sort of at the same time, in my opinion. Server meshing and Pyro should come at the same time. It's potentially going to be a Q4 2021 release this year. That is optimistic, but I still think it's very possible. Do you think that the Xenothreat stuff was cancelled last year because it won't work without dynamic socks, server meshing, and iCache? No. So it was sort of cancelled at the end of last year, pushed and delayed because it needed a bit more polish. There was a few too many bugs with it. It didn't perform as intended, and may have been a little too hard to trigger the next stages of it and things. There's a lot going on with it. Do you think the Carrack Expedition package is worth it? I can melt all ships I have and get it. What's your opinion on it? I love the Carrack. It is my second favourite ship. It's pretty close to that of this Mercury Star. Mercury Star would be my favourite. Carrack is fantastic. Super multi-role. Great size. Potentially make other ships for it. I don't know what other ships you've got, but you'll better get all this stuff in game, so. Sorry if I missed it. Is a wipe guaranteed with 4.0? Not guaranteed, necessarily. It's quite possible we would get a wipe when we get iCache in game. It's quite possible we'll get a wipe when we get server meshing in game. You're still going to see server crashes, even after the 30k hotfixes. Even after... it's going to be a while before we have truly stable servers with great redundancy. Now, there's a lot of full persistence and iCache redundancy that they're planning for the game, so that servers will effectively regenerate a lot of the data if there's a crash, and be able to put you onto another service pretty quickly, bam, 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 which is fantastic. Yeah, so we're waiting on iCache for a lot of potentially good stability. Oh, he's put it in the super chat. Was super excited for the 400i that featured in one of your videos as a leak. Is there any information about that yet, or anything else that's been said? Love your content and hope you are well. Yes, so we don't know if that was just a rumor or a leak that has since changed, or if Cloud Imperium are getting out in the 3.12 branch or later this year. We don't know. Is it possible that we should see a new Origin ship at some point this year? Yes. Is it possible that it's the 400i? Yes. But we don't have any more information on that. And sort of, Star Citizen Leaks really thought it was a 3.12 release, but it was not. But that could be for a billion different reasons. It could just be that it was a fake leak. It could be that it was just not ready yet. It could be that they decided to move it around. Hey Board, there's a ton of negative videos and articles getting traction this week about Star Citizen. Any chance you can make a counter video addressing any of the claims? Already have. Already done it. It's already on my channel. In fact, there was two. So, I saw from last year, I went, oh, it's around this time that they make a Star Citizen article that goes, Star Citizen's still shit, and the users that play it are dumb, and they have all their money taken. Star Citizen bad, not released yet. And I literally said that in a video, and it's like, so just be aware that this is sort of happening, or going to happen. And then, like 4 days later, that happened. There's a couple of articles that came out, and then loads of articles that said exactly the same thing, copy and paste articles pretty much, saying Star Citizen missed it, and Squadron 42 missed its beta release, game still not released, most expensive game of all time, lots of little hit piece ones and stuff like that, just all using the same sources. Poorly researched, pretty bad. I mean, there's so many things to actually criticise Star Citizen about, and they sort of like these Star Citizen missed their beta, it's always delayed, sort of articles are just low-hanging fruit and low effort and not accurate. But yeah, I've already done a video that addressed that in a lot more detail, which was Squadron 42 beta cancelled, question mark. So, what have we got? Looking Glass, the ambush pack. The ambush pack comes with 2 arrows. Can 2 arrows fit inside the Perseus? As far as I'm aware, the Perseus does not have room for a ship to go inside it. It has room for a vehicle in its cargo bay. The Polaris would have room for at least 1 arrow. And maybe another one. We don't know yet. We have to see it when it's actually built out in our hands. Bitterness, thank you so much for even more money. That's very, 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 very generous of you. And you think they will polish the FPS mechanics to a point where it gets as good as Destiny or Call of Duty? I think that's what they want to do. Yeah? That they're very much wanting to do that. It will look as pretty as that. Will it be as fluid and dynamic as that? Well, that's a good question. Like, Destiny is sort of an MMO, but it's very much instantized. Call of Duty, obviously, very much smaller scale. Both basically are much smaller scale. And it's interesting because they're working on it over a lot longer scale, lot longer time frame, and they've got the time and the talent and the tools to be able to make it polished to the same style as Destiny or Call of Duty. It is going to be more tactical. It is going to be slower. It is going to be, I say slower, not so run and gun, I suppose is the term. Although I suppose you could probably build more run and gunny with no armor on and running around with an SMG or pistol or something. But we're talking about we need significantly better netcode and much more refined, optimized servers, and a lot of tweaking done to the animations and prediction. But that is the plan. They want a really refined, beautiful experience that isn't latency-induced jank mess. It seems FPS tech is severely hampered by server tick rate. Yes, that's certainly one of the things. I mean, it is partly janky because of the poor server tick rates and poor prediction, causing a huge amount of extra artificial time having to be added to smooth stuff out. And then people janking around because it was incorrect, the smoothing. Follow up. By reset, I mean, will they reset all our stuff back to stock loadouts and we will have to create our avatar again? Oh, yes. They'll do that very regularly. So they reset the basic database, but not the long-term persistence database very often. What is happening with the trade terminal self-consumption since the latest hotfixes this week? It's really hard to sell anything in Lawville now because they're always full. Oh, I didn't check to see if they were... Okay, so I suspect they'll tweak that again. Do you think that apartment or hab rentals are going to lead to cities in-game becoming more navigatable? As in your hab is on Street A, Building X. Yeah, so there's certainly going to be hab blocks and areas that are dedicated for habs. And they want physical addresses. There's going to be a lot of players that want physical addresses in and around certain areas of Star Citizen in these landing zones. So I would expect there to be large amounts of rooms and big areas for habs and for these apartment buildings and things. I appreciate all the love. Thank you so much. There's lots of people just saying they love what I do. I just sit here and talk. I love what I do. Thank you. Didn't they say you can never perma-lose your ships that you've bought with real money? So they implied that there may be ways of... you might not be able to lose them. There might be a way of having statutory insurance. There might be a way of getting them back at like 75% of the cost or whatever of in-game money. So we don't 100% know exactly what's happening with insurance and ships that have been bought with real money in game and losing them. I would always assume the worst when it comes to that sort of stuff. So assume that you can lose them and then wait until Cloud Imperium clarify. You know what data ships like the Star Runner are going to be able to do? They're going to be able to transport data like cargo. So it's going to be similar to cargo. They're going to take data type missions, which will be to steal data or to transfer data or to take data from one place to another. there might be time-sensitive data in the same way as cargo, so lots of cargo-esque stuff. But they also said that the Star Runner and other ships like it will be able to make their own data or gather their own data in some way. So things like data interception and stuff like that. So we're not 100% sure exactly the front end for that or all of the cases that we're able to use it in, but will you be streaming Elite Dangerous Odyssey? That is the plan. Elite Dangerous did contact me and say, do you want to stream it? And sent me some cool goodies. So I will be streaming it at some point, yes. What is your impression on some trolling about only playing to ruin other people's experience? And Star Citizen will only be a war zone. How will both adventure-orientated and wargame-interested get along? So, there's going to be areas which are more suitable for one type of gameplay than another. There's going to be laws in certain areas which almost make it almost impossible to do that sort of war zone, just murder who you want gameplay. It's not the Wild West in the UEE zones, and there's going to be a lot of defences and laws and security forces and kicking players out in prisons and stuff, and harsh penalties for players that try and do that. So sort of be aware of that. And there's going to be areas of the game that have much higher risk and reward and are pretty much lawless, like Pyro System is going to be a lot more lawless. Standard, sort of like moderate security, but isn't secure as... because it's privatized, although it's relatively secure. But also, players that want to do, not fight, but want to do stuff where they might get attacked, will probably want to hire players that do want to fight to protect them. Why couldn't they see the dependencies needed to get land claims working in-game prior to advertising it wildly and taking money for it? I think it's because they were hyped about it and they wanted to put it in-game, and they probably could have put it in-game. So I don't think it was necessarily dependent on lots of other stuff, in the same way that Pyro's not actually dependent on server meshing. I just think it works a lot better if they do have server meshing in, and they just reprioritize stuff seemingly erratically, because it is partly erratic. They have these ideas, they want to do them, and then they go, actually, it's better to do this and this and this and this and this, and it would work a lot better if we did it this way around. So is that there's this constant reprioritization and erraticism with development and the implementation of stuff, because they go, well, it's better to have it in its near final stage if we know that that near final stage is going to be very different to this stage, and then we'd have to basically remake it. So they get to like some point in it and go, well, later. So yeah, erratic development with some of those features for sure. Is there any information that you know on how players will learn alien languages in game? Well, there's literally ways you can learn alien languages, because they're real languages. People have learnt like Xi'an and stuff already, haven't they? So there'll be translations for your mobiGlas, maybe different types of mobiGlas that give you translators and things like that as well, but they might not be as accurate as you learning the language. It won't be a necessity to learn those languages, no. Powell, will there be new Uncharted systems? That's the plan. For players to discover and potentially name. That is the plan. I'm not sure to what extent they can do that, but I suppose they could have some pretty procedurally generated systems. Like, we know that they've got between 100 and 120 systems planned at the moment, but they did say that there'll be other wormholes. They did say there'll potentially be nameable star systems and stuff in the future, so I don't suspect more than a handful of players will actually discover entirely new star systems. That said, in the future they might come up with, like, well, actually we can do a load of star systems which don't technically have anything else other than a load of materials to mine, and we can just have them findable, have them quite hard to find, have them findable, and then we just evolve them as players start to go to them, so add them to the dynamic economy and the sort of like the dynamic universe sim, and just see what happens. How is Star Citizen handling staffing? Are they always slowly expanding, or are they staying with the same size? So they're always expanding. So there was 83 new employees coming from 520 to over 600 from 2018 to 2019. They're hiring another, I think there's around 110 positions currently they're hiring for on the Cloud Imperium website. They're constantly expanding. I suspect they're around 650 at the moment. Potentially pushing towards 700. There's a new studio in Montreal that's headed by Turbulent that's going to be building Star Citizen systems and planets out. So I mean they're really pushing the boat out, as it were. In your opinion, seeing the increasing team size, new studio, but not many other changes each quarter, when do you see Star Citizen actually being released? 2025 is sort of the earliest I'd consider it potentially being a release, or something that people would go, this game is now mainstream playable, maybe its final reset. That could be optimistic though. Maybe for at least a beta by then. They should sell the UEC like GTA do. Oh, not the shark cards, fuck me. As long as, okay, I'd actually have a lot more love for GTA 5 if they handled their hacking problem. Like, if Star Citizen gets a major hacking problem and it's not solved, can you imagine, eh? That would be devastating. That would be devastating. So hopefully they'll sort that out. But I suppose with a load of hack detection that's non-invasive, but logging, they can just permanently ban these people, and all the trades that they made reverse them. Imagine people in 22nd century speaking Cheyenne only. Cheyenne only? Oh my god. That's where we're going, isn't it? I'm going to evolve into speaking Klingon. A little deep. Thank you very much for the RUB or RUB. I don't know what that currency is, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Thank you. People have been very generous today. Not really sure why. Not really sure what we do, other than I sit here in my very nice warm fleece blanket. Oh, nice electric fleece blanket. Oh, I think after the stream as well, I'm going to have a little nap. What kind of fleet event are we talking about? So, this is the Xenothreat fleet. This is the dynamic missions and events. So 3.12 added a load of back-end tech so they can, without patching technically, activate and have these sort of new events and actually go in and edit and do stuff without you having to patch the game again, is the idea. But they've got some events planned, and one of the major ones that we've been waiting for a long time is Xenothreat. So the attack from a pyro system in lore, anyway, at the moment, of a large-scale sort of pirate group that are anti-Xeno, and they've got fleets, and they're going to be attacking stuff, and there's going to be Idris battles and javelins involved, and the UE Navy, and loads of cool stuff happening. And you'll be able to jump in and get involved with that when it happens on the server. And that will be at different times on different servers, and based on other stuff that's going on those servers. You're just able to jump in and join. And the idea is like it's a big server-style raid, and lots and lots of people come along and join, and you can help, even if it's just you, or if it's a big group of you, and hopefully lots of people get involved. So really looking forward to that. It was planned for the end of December, but they had to push it back to what we're assuming is at some point in January at the moment. And that's what it appears to be. Happy New Year, Astro Mappers! Thank you very much. Happy New Year, sir. Very much appreciated. CIGO addicted to revenue. They earn selling ships. They will never stop. They will earn a lot more selling Squadron 42, selling games, selling when Star Citizen's released. So they may never stop selling ships. That is a possibility. We can't know for sure. I don't think I don't mind them selling ships as long as it's not done in a very, very predatory pay to win monetization route. I'm fine with them going, look, we're going to continue to make concept ships and straight to flyable new ships. And if you buy, like in the same way they used to do with Warframe, if you buy them, you get them at the earliest possible stage. Get them straight away when they come into game, bam. But they still need to be available for people to buy in game, and they can't just be strictly better than the previous ships. Yeah? And they sell like ship skins, and there's a huge amount of monetization they can do that's not pay to win, which I hope they do. I said do. So we have to see exactly what Cloud Imperium plan, and we'll hold them to a somewhat account of what they choose. Can we see your setup? What kind of mic do you use? I've just recently updated my mic to a Audio Technica AT2020. I can't really see it because of the way I've got it positioned. And my computer is getting... I'm waiting for my graphics card and GPU set up to actually have a new computer soon. And I will be doing a video on that, and also I'll be showing that off. What's your favourite soundtrack in Star Citizen? Oh, that's a lot. First Light's pretty solid. Depends on what my mood is and what I'm trying to edit and use it for, to be honest, actually. So Invictus Week. So Fleet Week, that should happen at the end of May again. C2, May 2021. What do you think? I think that's very viable. So it will be between end of March, well, between April and June. May seems very likely. And is it literally in between there? I like the sound of data running, which is the biggest and best ship that I could get my friend to buy. Wow. Don't get them to buy it. Just get in game. So at the moment, the Mercury Star Runner... Is the Mercury Star Runner the biggest data runner that we know is a focused data runner, or has the data runner focus? Because there might be some... You might be able to do it like a Hull C. You might be able to do it in a Hull E, technically, if you can get data running, like server pods or something. Yeah? Do you feel lifetime insurance should be included in all starter ships? Yes. I genuinely think it should. I think it should actually have starter ship insurance. Yeah? Rather than lifetime insurance, which is, as long as this package remains a starter ship, it effectively has lifetime insurance. Because yeah? Actually, I just feel like all starter ships should get lifetime insurance. Screw it. I have my quarterly token, and I have a Talon Twin Pack in my melt box. Why can't I buy it back with store credit? Good question. I don't know. Maybe it considers that a promotional package. You'll have to contact customer service. Personal opinion of mid-range ships in combat and flexibility of use. Corsair, Estimate, Freelancer, Cutlass Black. Cutlass Black is obviously very cheap and effective. Freelancer, slightly more evolved version of that. A bit better. Corsair, really good, no frills, multi-role ship. I love the Mercury Star Runner, although some people don't because they feel that it should have more firepower. There's going to be a huge amount of changes to Star Citizen in the future with physicalized components, and then when they balance everything, so sort of bear that in mind. I just bought the ambush pack, and it comes with 2 arrows. Any explanation as to why it has 2 of the same ship? Because they're I mean, I'm surprised they don't sell wings of ships. Let's go have a... See, what I would have done with Cloud Imperium, yeah, I would have gone, you can actually buy a fighter wing, or you could buy a fighter wing and carrier, yeah? Buy a fighter wing, and then individually gift those individual fighters off to people. Buy a carrier and fighter wing, you can, again, allocate those fighters to other people. Just allow the splitting of specific packages. In my opinion, Star Citizen is the kind of game that could actually benefit from pay to win. Rich folks are always going to want a lot of security and services, and they're able to pay for it. They should be space millionaires. So I don't mind inequality in games. I don't want pay to win, and I mean traditional pay to win, where you get a benefit that other people would find almost impossible or is impossible to get without spending money. I don't actually mind time-orientated pay to win, as long as that isn't so prohibitive that you have to buy it, basically, otherwise you can't ever get it. Do we know when NPC crews of any kind will be finally in game? It's being worked on. It's potential we could see. Potentially we could see the AI blades this year. I don't think we'll see proper NPC crews this year by any means, because they require a lot of work. Although people stealing AI ships now, the turrets, they are AI turrets. They work. How deep is the economy planned? Mining to refining, but will stages of manufacturing, assembly, all the way to player org, run stores, and supply chains? Yeah, so there are proper supply chains and factory nodes which take those refined goods in the area and build them into components. Those components then go to shops or go to ship manufacturers and actually have the ship built over time, and potentially other resources are needed. So it takes all of these economic inputs and then actually generates this dynamic economy, this universe simulation, and has all the ships moving around and correctly timed and all that sort of stuff. And there's probability volumes that will then affect your encounters with these traders, cargo, pirates, whatever, as they're moving around the verse. And having a huge amount of minerals going from one place to another could then start to attract pirates, which then could start to attract security forces, which then could generate missions for you to go and deal with pirate bases and stuff like that. Do a treadmill stream, please, maybe. Watch Eddie Izzard do his billion marathons. Quick question. Jump point between Stanton Borough is mid-sized. How come large ships like the Idris can pass through? Okay. That's a really fucking good question. However, we don't know what's happening with the size of the jump points and exactly how that's going to work. I would expect them to retcon it if they needed to. I forgot that it was mid-size, and it does appear that Xenothreat will have Idris, and they did come from the Pyro system and probably will retreat there, so it's a good question. Maybe the Idris is technically medium size, or maybe its jump points will have maximum sizes that are literally by meters, and the Idris just fits. Do we can believe the Nix system would be the first system implemented into the game? No. So there's definitely work on the Nix system in 2021. They're working on Nix 1, 2, and 3. And technically, we already have Delamar. Well, actually, we already have Delamar, which is supposed to be in the Nix system. It's in the Stanton system at the moment. It will move over. Levski and that will move over to the Nix system when Nix is done. However, I think it's just artwork and some work towards Nix. I think we're the much more on the way to getting Pyro in game, in my opinion. We currently have a zoom function by pressing the F key and mouse wheeling in. Do you know if that option will be removed in the future? I think that your HUDs and other items on you will give you lots of different functionality. I don't really mind about that zoom function. You just say it's a HUD function, it's all good. What do you think the new cargo amount for the Taurus will be? Good question. I think 20% more space, sort of thing. I know the Carrack is supposed to be an exploration ship, but could we ever see a general purpose variant? It's possible that we'll get modules for the Carrack, that we can do modular changes for its cargo bay to give it some different roles and stuff. And obviously you'll be able to change some of its hard points for more specific things. It is pretty multi-role beyond just being an explorer ship. Will I be able to melt my ship I have with my game package and Squadron 42 package while I lose my packages. If you melt the package, you lose everything. You can't melt the ship separately from that package if it's in the package. You can upgrade the ship, though, and then you keep everything else that's in there. Do you think they will add planetary features such as roads, rivers, waterfalls this year? So, I think that you might see some handcrafted ones potentially this year. For procedural, interesting roads as part of the procedurally assisted system. Not this year. I think they'll work on them this year. I think you might like see a waterfall as a feature on a planet or something somewhere. It's a very specific one, but yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to crew these giant capital ships for sure. Should UEC be included in game packages purchase? What? Appear as equivalent Alpha UEC for the time being. I can't remember. Did they implement that Alpha UEC in game packages would actually be in game now, or are they saying that's going to be in game later? I can't remember if that's in game now or not. It's such a minimal amount though. What's the largest ship plan for the game? I think some of the 3 kilometer ones. You've got things like the Kingship and the Redemption. Is there Redemption? The Super Dreadnoughts. What was the final verdict with the lawsuit about Squadron 42? Was it dismissed with prejudice, or do they keep complaining later? Cloud Imperium and Crytek came to a settlement in the end. We don't actually know the full details of that settlement. It looks very likely that the settlement was probably, we'll both pay for our own legal fees and call it there. That's what it looks like. Because Crytek looked to that they were trying to dismiss their own case by the end of it. And Cloud Imperium sort of did appear to be an extremely powerful winning position. So no, they can't come back and complain later. As long as, well, whatever the settlement is, as long as both of them abide by their settlement. When are we going to see an Anvil capital ship? I don't know, but I would expect to see one in the future. I really want at some point as well a drone combat ship. Do you think that apartment or hab rentals are going to lead to cities in-game becoming, as we talked about that earlier? What do you think the iCache card on 3.13 will have in the impact of way Star Citizen feels for the game? Potentially more snappy databases, more snappy sort of like access to terminals and shops and things like that. It's basically moving some of the old Pcache over to iCache and getting stuff more iCache ready. So it's basically server optimizations is the way I see it. So they decide not to put the star map in ship interfaces and instead only in the mobiles. I think they are going to have it as part of MFDs and the globes as well in the future. Will the change to Vulkan have any effect on visuals? Yes, so it should allow the game to be more scalable, use more CPU and cores, use more GPU things, so you should actually see a more scalable, higher frame rate, and more stuff potentially able to happen on the screen and more effects to be used and things like that. So them focusing on Vulkan is actually a very smart idea, and yeah, you should notice some, eventually at least, some clear visual changes from them moving from DirectX 11 to Vulkan. So more scalable is the thing, and that they're, because it's more resource efficient, that means they can actually do more. Do we get to keep our loaner ships indefinitely? No. Only, you get to keep them until the ship comes out. Or they change what loaner it is. Despite the past negatives that no-fly zones have added, do you think no-fly zones may add more gameplay to some surface areas outside of cities? I think they're going to reduce no-fly areas massively. There is a restricted area rework planned for later this year to try and make it so that it's sensible and not invasive, and that you can do a lot around the landing zones, basically, without screwing your gameplay up or other people's gameplay up. So you have to wait and see exactly how that works. The thing is that I want the ability to use my weapons and attack freely in a lot of these areas. I can understand why they might not want that at specific landing zones on UEE planets and sort of like near Norville and ArcCorp and stuff like that. In lawless areas, would it be possible for a player org to lock down an entire system to completely control it? Potentially, yes. They are going to have to try and control it, though, and I suspect that will cause a lot of people to come along and go, hang on, we don't want you to do that. When you play Star Citizen for fun, what do you mean? What do you like to do? Just pass the time in 3.12? I mean, I like trying to earn money. I do a mixture of like bounty hunting and mining at the moment. Will there be new Uncharted systems for players to discover? And actually, we talked about that earlier. When do you think we will get a full painting system to our ships, like going into a mod shop? So this is aftermarket customization. It's planned, it's being worked on, but I'm not sure exactly when we're going to get it. Obviously, we're getting the ability to name our ships and have, it looks like potentially decals or the ship's name on the ship, as well as serial numbers in 3.13. So that is a step towards that form of customization. Will we get decompression when the ship cargo deck is opened? If you don't have magnetic boots, you're thrown out the back. So, okay, it's a good question. So we don't have magnetic boots in the game. We used to have magnetic boots, and they went, we're going to have EVA, and actually have artificial gravity on the EVA packs by thrusting you downwards, so that you can sort of artificially walk on things like gravity boots. They have shown previously that they are able to do explosive decompression and decompression in general from ships, and there's a rim system that will sort of handle that. Is that something you're going to be getting in game? It looks likely, so sort of bear that in mind. What else we got? Are they planning on making every ship available for purchase in game during alpha? I believe so. It will be almost every ship. There are a couple of promo ships like the Saber Raven, the Mustang Omega that are promo. Do you think they're abandoning the stance of not releasing Squadron 42 assets to the persistent universe before Squadron 42 launch? Okay, so that's not going to be entirely true. Obviously, they've got like the Idris and the Javelin, and they are putting them in game, and there's lots of other Squadron 42 stuff that is going to be integrated into the persistent universe before Squadron 42 is ready. They're not showing any Squadron 42 specific content though until release or closer to release. Hi, Board. Do you think it is going to be possible that the Banner Merchantman gets a hangar in its redesign, or come with a docking feature like the Connie has? Yeah, so it's going to have some synergy with the Banner Defender. We know that, and that could be some sort of light docking, potentially. And also, it is a floating bazaar and shop, so maybe it is going to have some way that sensibly has ships dock with it. Maybe it does have a docking collar. Maybe it does have a little area where ships can sort of park. Are you enjoying the eye tracker? Do you know what? I haven't done my video stuff on it yet. I've been watching Zin use it and DC use it. I need to get that done. I'll try and get that done. This weekend. God damn it. He reminded me that I need to get that done. What's the update for the Banner Merchantman and the Endeavour? Anytime soon? So, I think we're getting like the Polaris end at sort of mid 2022, and then we'll start to see the Banner Merchantman worked on. The Endeavour, I think, as it's a big science ship and quite complex, I think it's quite far out. I wish CIG gave us more access to ships, weapons, and armour as subs, or when buying more expensive packages. I just want everything in game as soon as possible. If you could have any concept ship in game right now, which would you choose? Probably the Banner Merchantman. Everyone would be pretty happy, eh? They'll be able to sneak aboard your ship and poop in your kitchen sink. It depends on how they deal with poop. I suspect you're only able to alleviate yourself in the correct facilities, because I suspect that because it looks like they want to have a hygiene gauge, and I suspect that hygiene will govern poo, pee, shower, and dirt, as a sort of like all of it counted as the same sort of thing. Vandal Golden Standard doesn't mean all Vandal or the Scythe, Glaive, and Blade. It suggests all Vandal. So if you asked this question already, have you gotten to use your eye tracker yet? So we've messed around with them briefly. Not enough for me to give a proper or any form of review of it beyond it's certainly going to have its uses for a lot of people. Could we see homesteads and base building this year? I don't think we're going to see base building this year. I think they're going to be working on it. I think we're going to see new points of interest and new locations in game that are moving towards the base building mechanics. Have you or CIG considered the possibility of prison transport ships or associated missions where prisoners, maybe NPCs or players, could be vulnerable to breakout? That is the Price of Freedom mission. Is a very basic version of that, where there are prisoner cargo pods, and you literally have to assault that prison ship that's been disabled, and find the right prisoners on board, and potentially even work out which one of them is the one that got them in trouble in the first place, the one that sold them out, the narc, and kill them. What's the update for the Banner Merchantman and the Endeavour? Anytime soon? No. Tri-tip roast or chuck eye roast? Oh, come on. Like, Okay. My favourite general steak is a ribeye. Okay. I love rib of beef. When it comes to roast, rib of beef. What's your thought on CIG once a year or every couple of years selling a lifetime insurance upgrade token for $5 to $10? I mean, they sort of do. They sell upgrades to ships that come with lifetime insurance sometimes. They sort of said they wouldn't sell lifetime insurance in that way, and they get around it. So, do you think that when the game is released, any game packages purchased with real money will be lost? What? No. What? No. You get, it's gonna stay on your account. What? if you've bought it with in-game money, when there's a reset, that will go. The money will go, the ship will go. If you bought it with real money, that'll be on your account after the reset. It's the Retributions, the Super Dreadnought. My bad. My bad. I'm dumb. What did I see? Redemption, didn't I? Oh. Jason Citron, thank you very much for becoming a YouTube member. Will military spec fighters such as the Gladius eventually overpower civilian class ships once people can afford the high quality pieces? So, the military models, there are military models of the ships, like there's a military model, the F7A for the Hornet. Yeah. Now, it's not just, it's going to be military components as well. So, you're going to be able to get your ship, your civilian version of the ship, and be able to outfit it with these amazing A-class military components and make it really powerful anyway. So, military ships typically will be a better hull, so better, more tougher hull or whatever, slightly, and that sort of stuff, better components, but generally tougher is the way I see it. Will I have trouble getting into Star Citizen if I use this name for my YouTube channel? Star Citizen Alpha League TV? I don't see any problem. Is there any ETA for Vulkan API? So, I was expecting Vulkan integration, first stage Vulkan integration, end of last year. So I would expect it to be pretty soon. We should see it on the roadmap. Later in January, they should update us where it's going to be. So this car does not have toilet. Does that mean it will have a poop deck? I hate you, Ted. What do you think about the fire in space? I personally would like a bit more realism. I don't mind big space explosions and brief fires in space. But I mean, when there's no oxygen, the room system should get rid of them pretty quick. I'm fine with sound. I'm fine with explosions and fire in space. But the fire can't constantly burn in space. It needs to, you know. Is the docking in 3.13 parasite docking or ship-to-station docking? Both. Do you think there will be the still suits from June? I love the idea. I suspect there will be something very similar. Hi, Board. Have you played with the Grey Cat Rock Miner? Yes. Is it worth getting? Yes, it is. But I would say get it in-game. But it is very cool. What's the name of the disc-shaped ship in the background? It was an Argo concept ship, which they decided to not do in the end. When can we expect player states to be saved between sessions? After iCache. iCache should be coming later this year. Q2, Q3 later this year. Do you think a portable tent item where you could set up on a planet with a bed to log in and out would be a good idea? They've sort of talked about that before and said they didn't want to do that, but I actually think it's a good idea still. But they are going to have homesteads and points of interest like that, so bear that in mind. I like the idea. To win with a big ship, you need a lot of players. Screw it. 10 players with 10 Auroras will beat a single player with one anyway. So, it depends. If you have NPC crew in your big ship, you'll win still against 10 Auroras. If you, some ships might work really well with AI blades, potentially. What are the current blockers for comprehensive ship customization? The front-end UI needs to be built out for that customization. iCache is needed to be able to track all the customizations and have them working properly in-game and for everyone to see them. Those are probably the main two things I would expect. Falcon Cannon, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated, sir. Here's to BoredGamer, the best boss ever. That's what I heard anyway. Nice. Nice Falcon Cannon. I am the best boss. And that's what I make Zin tell me every day. I gave her yesterday off. She fell a bit ill. Has CIG considered dedicated prisoner transport? Oh, we talked about that already. Will there be certification requirements in the game for special equipment or missions, such as the bounty mission system? Probably. So there are going to be organisations that you can join in-game, guilds you can join in-game that are NPC run, not player run guilds, that will allow you to get information, like Bounty Hunters Guild, getting information and allowing you to actively hunt bounties and all that sort of stuff. So there's going to be things like that in-game. There's obviously certification missions for bounty hunting missions now, but expect lots of stuff like that. Yeah, that makes sense. That looks like what they're trying to do with lots of different things. Do you think the Harbinger and Sentinel will go up to 3.3 million? Prices will change a lot in the future, and then they'll be dynamic eventually. If you have multiple game packages, is the plan to still, you can get an extra game package and give them to friends? How will that work in terms of what ships they get? Don't know. We don't know what's happening with additional game packages on your account yet. CIG have seemed to have gone a bit confused at that state. When can we see the Perseus in game? I don't think it's... at the earliest, I wouldn't expect it until the end of 2022, and that's super optimistic. Is the current flight model the final flight model? So there are definitely tweaks and updates they are making to this flight model. Do I think they're going to completely rework the flight model? Probably not. They probably will go with this one that's been tweaked heavily, and once the servers and everything are nice and streamlined, it will probably be good for it. So I expect it to be a variation of the current one. Do you ever see yourself starting an in-game, in-fiction news and current event show with cameras and broadcasts? Yes. 100%. That's one of the things I'll transition into when we have regular in-game news that we can do and things happening in the game. Do you expect we'll get a DLSS graphics option and support in the game? Yes. I would expect. Well, that's a good question, actually, because DLSS, isn't that the NVIDIA version? Is there a Vulkan version of DLSS? So I suspect we'll get something like that. Whatever. So Crytek wasted 2.5 years of legal fees on a losing argument. That's what it appears to be. That is what I thought they had done. That's what it appears to have happened. I cannot say for 100% sure, but that looks like what happened, yes. But we did say that all throughout. To some people saying, these guys wouldn't take the case on if they didn't think they could win. And, oh, no. I think they take the case on to make money from you. Ship advice is it nuts to own the C2 and Caterpillar. I can't bring myself to upgrade the Cat. Love it too much. So they are working on modularity this year for the Retaliator to start with, and I would suspect the Caterpillar relatively soon afterwards. So the Caterpillar might get some cool functionality. I mean, unless you see something desperately that you want instead of the Caterpillar, then there's no need to melt it, is there? Is server meshing in current live already? No, server meshing's... we're hoping we have it by the end of the year, but that's potentially optimistic. So we're waiting on iCache and then server meshing. iCache should be going on the roadmap. Potentially server meshing will going on the roadmap later in January. We should know a bit more. iCache is the first stage towards that, though. Do you think that once Star Citizen enters beta, there will be no longer database resets every patch? Yeah, that's potentially. It depends on how they do their beta, but that's why it's possible that we will have the final reset for the game in beta and not another one when it comes out of beta. But it's also possible we'll have one for beta and one for when it comes out of beta. Do you see what I mean? And we don't know yet because we can't tell the future, but I find it hard to decide on whether to go legal or illegal if I go heavy criminal, will I be able to be a good boy again and always have a black spot? You can pay off your debts to society, I think's the idea, with either cold hard cash or spending time in prison and stuff. Also, have multiple characters. Okay, have multiple characters. One that is a crim and one that is not a crim. I need a bigger ship that can trade in. Get it in game, is my suggestion. Do you think CIG will realistically have a Citizen Con this year? So I think they genuinely wanted to have one early this year, sort of, as in sort of April, May time, is what I actually think, but I don't think they're about to do that now. So I still think they want to have a Citizen Con this year. I think that's still very viable. Do you think server blades could automate mining lasers like on the Mole? They could. Because you could have NPC crew doing it, so they could. It depends on whether they want that functionality for it. For those of us with limited time, when the game is released, will we be able to buy ships with dollar like currently in now? We're not 100% sure. We do know that you're going to be able to buy in-game currency with dollar. And well, at least that's what the original plan was to fund the game after launch. So, also, permadeath is going to be in-game. That is true. We are going to have permadeath. However, it's not going to be just you die once, you're dead. You're going to have multiple opportunities. And when you die, you're basically going to start to see damage and injuries to your character. There might be ways of reversing that and things like that. You're right, Zin. Hope you're doing well. Do you think the Merchantman is one of the hidden ships on the roadmap? I doubt it. It looks very much to me that after the Polaris, then you'll start to see the Merchantman. But it's possible. I'm looking forward to Star Citizen Safariing, yes, and big game hunting. I mean, the Pyro Crab and the Yeti is pretty cool, but generally just dangerous animals in game. There are teams working on animals currently. They are actively working on getting animals in game. You're right, Rinsable. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoy your Mercury Star Runner, sir. Do you think we will be able to tip space cows? Yes, I think the space cows with all their little nipples will be able to be knocked right over. Or egg sacs or whatever they had on them. Can you elaborate on the permadeath of the character? I've never heard that before. So, yeah, so when Star Citizen's launched, or at some point in the future, your character will be able to die. So, you'll have soft deaths. So, you die in the explosion, you get your ship blows up, whatever. You'll respawn in a hospital, or get rescued, or whatever. But, yeah, you respawn. If you continuously die or die a lot, eventually you will permanently die. When you permanently die, you'll have to create a new character. You don't lose everything, though. You make a new character, and they basically are the next of kin for your current character, and they get the stuff. There is going to be death tax. There is going to be some taxes on that. There is going to be some reputation loss. But you can't be a super criminal character, then die, then be a lawful character with your next one immediately. There's reputation loss, but you'll still have a bad reputation potentially, but not as bad. You'll still have, or if you had really good reputation with the Bounty Hunters Guild, well, you might have an okay reputation with them, but not as good. So the idea is to incentivize not wanting to die and helping to drive your actions. But it's not the end of the world if you do die, so bear that in mind. Have they mentioned the Kraken going into development or anything like that? No, not yet. CitizenCon 2021 would be a good time to show off new creatures. I agree. Do you think permadeath will work a bit like No Man's Sky, where if a ship gets destroyed, certain modules will be damaged and require repair? So you'll lose the stuff that was on your character when you just die normally, as in when you potentially anyway, and your ship will be destroyed, and you'll have to either reclaim it. Well, actually, you'll be able to go back and get your ship, potentially where it was. So sort of bear that in mind. the more recent thing they've said with permadeath is that they actually now want to do it like cloning. So you have DNA, your DNA, your new clone is triggered when you die, so you can actually go back to get your stuff from where you died because you've got a new clone. But your DNA is damaged every time you respawn, or every time they release a new clone, and eventually it's beyond recoverable. But I suspect there'll probably be ways in game to pay with in-game money, not with real money, with in-game money to have that count reset. But that's the sort of in-law reason for it. Did you ever read Starship Troopers? I listened to half of the audiobook, Ted. I do need to actually listen to it. I've got it on my desktop, the audiobook. And the worst. Be able to buy clones versus death tanks. They might evolve it a bit. Like, obviously it's hugely Eve influenced, and Eve thought about their way of having characters respawn, and it was a sensible plan for them. So Star Citizen have gone, when they thought about it, how do we have players looting their own bodies? Have you been working out? You look well. I have been going for a regular run. I've lost a lot of weight. I gained about 5 pounds over the December period because of the Christmas, but I've started to lose a bit now. Do you expect cyberpunk-type implants and limb replacements? Maybe cosmetic-esque ones, but I don't think we'll actually get proper mantis blades or anything like that. Although I might be wrong. Oh yeah, Recco Bataglia has a bionic leg. Will we see the Crusader Ares this year? The Ares, Ion, and Inferno both look to be in-game later this year. That's what it looks like on the roadmap. What do you think about hunting animals in the future? I think that's going to be a thing. I think they're going to have valuable resources and materials on them. Are you aware of any interesting Lumberyard news with regards to future Star Citizen development updates? I have not kept track of specific Lumberyard news for quite a while, but I will actually have a look at that again later today. Or at least I'll put it on my notes, because I'm going to have a nap after this stream. I'm going to go pretty soon, actually, because I'm pretty tired. But I will actually check that out, and I might poke CIG and see. Just so Luminari are present in the video. I'll be right back. Got to pick it up. Pick up the presents. And then sell them. Selling should work much better now. Training from the clone would lead to DNA degradation unless they could store the entire original DNA strand, but realistically, that is not something someone would have on hand easily. Could you capture animals and sell them as pets? So, pets were a planned stretch goal, and as far as I'm aware, they still plan to have pets in the future. Do you think Cloud Imperium will market the tools they have created making Star Citizen? Yeah, in some way in the future, at some point, yeah. Why not? Right. Any other quick questions? Any other quick questions? Because we'll answer them real quick, if there are any, and then I'll pass you over to someone else and call it a day. So I know Zin's working on a Star Citizen funding video, because we got some cool info from the 2019 financials and the 2020 financial stuff. She's working on an iCache video. There's a load of other content I've got planned in the near future. She's going to be organising some events as well, and getting the Star Citizen BoredGamer org sort of ready. Do you think the F8C Lightning will be widely available? So yeah, you'll be able to get it in game. They said that you'll have to have access to the F8C and potentially to buy it or access to it in some way when you get to a certain point in Squadron 42, but you'll get it in the persistent universe. So But you'll be able to get it in game. Don't worry. You don't need to spend $1 billion, $10,000, whatever it is, to get it. What features are you most looking forward to in 2021? iCache, server meshing, potentially salvage. There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot going on. But I suppose in the shorter term, and potentially the most exciting thing for me is the dynamic events, the big Xenothreat stuff, and potentially other events throughout 2021. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty well, but I am going to jump away pretty soon, very soon. How were your December festivals? I believe I had coronavirus during December, just before Christmas, and then I cooked Christmas dinner and everything. I was very tired, but I had a great, a delicious Christmas. It was good to see my one of my bros. Do you think Yoda will live on a swampy, barren planet? He will teach us the ways of the Force and lift our gladius. Yoda also did the voice of Miss Piggy. Sorry, that's just a random fact that came into my head. Not Yoda, the voice actor. Have you seen the Lunar New Year skins? How much do you hate them? They're not great. They're red and gold. Yeah. Ford, can you drop me an email so we can get you some goodies? I'm hit. You can email me, and you should email me at rich@boredgamer.co.uk. rich@boredgamer.co.uk. You will get through straight to me if you want me for anything. Oh, that's you, Sean. Wrong account. Lol. Bored, can you drop me an email so we can get you some goodies? Yes, I can. I'll email you today. If you haven't heard from me, can you email me back? Because I've got your wrong email. Sean, if you don't get me from today. Other sicknesses don't exist anymore. I know, right? So it could have just been some sort of gastro flu. I was pretty bad though. I was very ill. My friend Mike had pretty much the same thing as me though, and he had a COVID test and he came back positive. So, in your opinion, will the Polaris be done before 2022? Nope. In my opinion, it will not. In my opinion, it'll be done mid 2022. Right. You star Sean. I'm going to dash off, and I'm going to email Sean, who's from Azatec, as you can tell by his name, Azatec Sean. And I want to get this computer sorted. Though I'm still waiting for my CPU and GPU anyway, so doesn't really matter. And then I can do my second playthrough of Cyberpunk with RTX on. Will the Banu get bigger? So the Banu and the Polaris have both got bigger, though we don't think it's hugely bigger or anything like that, so bear that in mind. New stars. Wait, I have no idea how if I did have the COVID, I have no idea how I got it. Like, my parents didn't have it, and I think I left the house once to go to the post office. I suppose it might have been then, but I don't think there's one person I sort of talked to, which was the post office clerk, while I had a mask on, why she had a mask on, and there was no contact of any kind. They were quite distanced. Yeah. Could have been from parcels, could have been from takeaways, actually. What happened to the Hercules A2? It's getting work on for 2021, just don't know exactly when it's gonna be in. It doesn't appear to be for the 3.13 branch. I had a dream about Jared looking 60 years old and still in development. Do you think it'll still be in development for 20 years? Well, I think that Star Citizen will still continue to receive updates and be developed for 20 plus years, but I do think it will be released within the next 6. Yeah, thank you very much for all hanging out today. Very much appreciated. I love you guys loads because you give me money. You get me to allow me to do what I do just by watching and asking the questions. You make the content because you go, what does this do? And I go, either I don't know, or probably this, or I have the answer to that because CIG have said this last time about it. But thank you so much for watching. Very much appreciated. I'm going to pass you over to another streamer. Twitch, that's the one. Actually, we've got some good videos coming out soon. We've got some good videos coming out soon because they're my videos. Audio is always good. I'm going to pass you over to the Super Mac Brothers, Ryan. Is Star Citizen releasing soon? You get a major update to Star Citizen, which is already available to play every 3 months. Next one coming end of March is the plan. But Star Citizen as a fully released non-alpha game is going to be a few years yet. Interstellar exploration, question mark? Yes. But at the moment, when you have the standard system and not even that's finished. What am I doing? Give Super Mario Brothers some love. Slash raid. Boop. He's going to go off in a minute, isn't he? He's going to try and raid me at the same time I'm raiding him. Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious? But my French, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for all the support and the love. Astromappers, Little Deep, Powell, Vintonaz, Looking Glass, Embers, Let's Play, Vintonaz loads, Sai Snootles, Robert Johnston, I love your face. And loads of people that joined and subbed and did other stuff. Vulcan Cannon. There's more people as well, but I can't read. Citizen Shenanigans, I'm off, but I love you. Yeah, take care, guys. Peace out. Talk to you soon, and love.